Hey there, you spicy listeners. This is CJ. We have something a little bit different this week. We have been doing this show for about 2 years now. And in that time, we have had a lot of laughs. We've had a lot of lore. And quite honestly, it is just too much to put into reasonably sized episodes. Some of our episodes are pretty unreasonably sized, even with the stuff we take out. So we wanted to do something a little bit different this upload. We want to present to you a bunch of the jokes and the little lore snippets and some of the, I guess you could call them outtakes of the previous episodes, and kind of use it as a way to look back over the last couple of years and all of the stories that we've got to tell and all the laughs that we got to have with each other. And so we took the liberty of organizing some of that for you guys, and I hope you enjoy. We're going to be back to our regularly scheduled content pretty soon here. We're working on some spooky ones for the spooky season we're really excited about. We've got some guests coming in. We've got a lot of things in the works, but we also thought it would be a good time to just reflect on how far we've come. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy a little bit of the more you lore. Roll that spooky intro.
Welcome, weary traveler. You have stumbled across a comedy chronicled of cranial confections, a frenzied fable of bewitching fiends, an enticing expose of eccentric evils. Should you brave ahead, you will find yourself lost, afraid, and cursed with everlasting knowledge of the terrible occult. Will you survive this journey? That I cannot say. But I can say it will be the lore of horror.
Let's do a little
Let's
comedy
play.
warm up where Fran, I'm gonna give you a location and an occupation, and you're going to be the rabbi who's circumcising that person's child. You're on a boat, a rocky boat, and it's thundering outside, and you have famous Jewish man Jerry Seinfeld's child he had with a 19-year-old. Go.
Sorry, I have to ask questions because once again, I don't know shit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
You made a lot of assumptions that I understand the prompt again.
Okay, Jerry Seinfeld is a comedian. He was very popular in the 80s and 90s.
No, I'm stuck on the rabbi doing
humor.
circumcision.
My child still has his foreskin.
So
What's up with that?
the only reason why I know that rabbis do circumcision is from the Robin Hood Men in Tights movie. Because that was the whole thing with Mel Brooks, his job.
He was going around giving circumcisions.
Yeah, I don't understand the connection with Judaism and circumcision. Is that something also from the Old Testament that the Christians took? Or is it like a religious thing? Is it just happen to be rabbis doing it? Like, what's happening?
It's a Jewish religious thing, yeah.
But other people get circumcised.
Yeah, that's just for the look and the feel.
Yeah, that was like a 1950s thing where someone suggested that your
so it's not like a religious practice for everybody.
No, only for Jewish people.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm circumcised. I'm not Jewish.
Okay.
But it got really popular specifically in the United States. Yeah, in the 50s.
Yeah,
so even people who weren't Jewish would get circumcised.
Yes.
You don't need a rabbi to do it. In fact, a doctor doing it sounds better.
Do rabbis still do circumcisions?
Hell yeah, dude.
Is there like a ritual with it?
Well, they gotta. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't remember mine. But like,
I'm imagining the interesting conversations of like, okay, here's our marketing objectives, the strategies and the tactics are going to employ. So our objective is to increase viewership, right? How are we going to do that? We're going to collaborate with other adult content creators. And what's our tactic? You're going to take a dick up your ass.
and because sex work is such a great industry to be in, and there's so many like frameworks to help the people with like healthcare and stuff like that, that there's really no downside to it. Like we all should just be getting naked and exchanging money for that service.
What we're trying to say is that if you would like to see us on our OnlyFans at Spices with,
I keep my socks on the whole time. You
it
little
is
pervert.
CJ and I, Fran does not attend.
I'm the agent in this situation.
Our
I'm
marketing.
I'm brokering the deals.
I'm gonna say that a fully clothed woman around two naked men is definitely a fetish for someone. It's me.
Oh no.
Olimar has a Fran.
Oh, they do add the daughter later.
Yeah, Fran, for a bonus point. I don't know what the daughter's name is, but can you guess what Olimar's son's name is?
Lamar?
That's pretty close, actually.
Wow.
His name's Smallimar.
Oh, Smallimar. All right.
That is not his official name.
That is his name.
That is a fan name.
No, I don't think so.
What would you name your future child then, CJ, if you followed the same naming convention?
Smallimar.
It would be. I was gonna say it would be CJ, but all lowercase letters.
All right.
Like E. Cummings.
All right, fine. That's just a fan name. Still though. Now I have to cut all that out. Are you
So
kidding
get rid of it. We're
You can
done
be
with
wrong.
that.
No, Fran.
Never. He'll keep in every part that I say wrong, but if he...
I guess that's the power of being the editor.
That
you can
is-
just make yourself right the whole time, except for that whole episode of
Exactly.
Resident
Except
Evil
that one time.
and Yu-Gi-Oh.
And that other
Other
time.
things.
I ship Master Chief and Samus. I would not confuse them.
I think the headcanon is that Master Chief and Samus banged and then had the Doom guy as a baby.
Ooh.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So they're like a family.
It's beautiful.
I've seen some very beautiful art of it, yeah. some documentary material.
They're very distractible.
Yeah, today's a fucking mess, huh? I saw the worst thing I've ever seen on the internet, which is what everyone says, but it was a person who made a meme because they wanted to be like, it was like one of those memes where they're like, I don't understand why this is a thing kind of meme. And they were like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why everyone doesn't just take the Myers-Briggs test so they know how best to communicate with other people.
Oh,
and I was like, do you think in your tiny brain, your small, underdeveloped, smooth mind, that if you pick one of 6 options on a chart, you just know how to communicate with everyone else based on one of their options on the same chart? That is the dumbest thing I've heard in my entire life. And I've heard very stupid things. I say almost all of them. And that takes
Don't
the
go
cake.
to South Korea. South Korea loves Myers-Briggs
I
tests.
can't believe people think
It's like-
that just helps you communicate by just like, oh, this is what I am. Now that I know what I am, I'm in charge. I am in charge of my destiny.
It's
as intense as like blood types in Japan.
this
South Korea loves an MBTI.
this rant of CJ's is classic Leo.
It is. I am. Every time I hear more about Leos, though, I am like that, though. I am a Leo. All right. Leomon also died in the first one.
Oh no, his abs.
Yeah. I think it's a meme. I was like scrolling, like I said, I was scrolling through the subreddit, and people are like, "It's another Leomon death." So I think he just dies a lot in the show, in the various
Well,
series.
he comes back as an egg, right?
Yeah, Rufferoony.
Digimon never die. You don't think that's the weird part. If you make a that's what all the Black Mirror is like, right? Where it's like, oh, your consciousness copy, but it doesn't even know that it's you. It's like, well, I look at myself every once in a while and I'm like, yes, my meat flesh body, very good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't a perfect copy of my consciousness look at itself and be like, wait a second, I'm but ones and zeros. This isn't.
Well, I mean,
it must be a copy of my own consciousness.
In the Black Mirror thing, they not only perfectly copy the consciousness, but then also take the extra
and give
step.
them wieners and stuff.
To perfectly copy their physical being.
Because they want to see if they're good at sexing each other.
What was the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! One is like, I've studied every follicle on your fucking foreskin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna get more coffee before you start at all.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, that boy's he's fine.
He's fine. I do, after we're done recording, I get to go to a card shop and go get Pokemon cards, and I'm terribly excited for it. By the way, Ethan, if you have any old Pokemon cards, Matt and I will take them off your hands for you.
No, we were even talking about this the other day, Siley and I, and my whole collection my dad made me sell when I was like 10 or whatever for $20.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
It's like when your dad
That's
gives you a
awful.
puppy and makes you name it and like raise it, and then he's like, "Now kill it, son." Prove
That's exactly
you're
what
a
that
man.
is.
Prove you're a man.
Oh my
no, it's
God.
not like a puppy. It'd be
I
more
mean,
like a
Those
goat.
poor Pokemon cards.
It's very funny too, because like he loves to tell the stories about like, I had some of these original Superman comics and they would have been worth so much money if my mom hadn't thrown them away. And then he's
then
like,
what does
but
he
you
make
get
you
rid
do?
of those. Yeah, you get rid of those Pokemon cards though.
Would they have though? People always think that their stuff's gonna be worth a lot of money, and then like in retrospect, most
Right,
of the
but
time it's not.
I
The
do need to
point
go back
is
and tell
that-
my parents to invest in Pokemon cards instead of Beanie Babies.
My mom
'cause
got
Beanie
rid
Babies
of
did not.
All of my GameCube games. But
Oh.
Yeah, that's
not my
brutal.
GameCube. That's worth hundreds of dollars now. I had Wind Waker. I can sell that for
Oh,
$800 now. It's the gold one. I mean, I think they're all
Wow.
the gold ones.
Wait, the gold, isn't that like the re-release version?
Maybe.
Yeah.
The disc was well. That's Ocarina.
Oh.
There's the gold cartridge, but
Mm,
Wind Waker I think just came on a gold disc.
still pretty.
It is pretty, and I want to suck on it like when I was a kid. That's why they made the
Dude,
that's why they made the
That's
disc
why they made
so
the disc
small,
smaller?
so you could fit it in
Yeah.
your
Have
mouth.
in your mouth.
Yeah, and that's why CJ's disc would have sold for a lot of money.
I like the idea.
Did any of you?
I like the
Okay.
idea of that because they made the Switch cartridges taste bad. Because everyone who had a GameCube kept putting the discs in their mouth because they fit so
Wait.
perfectly.
Did they?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put like a bitterant in there.
part. No, they did do that first part. They made them taste bad. They made the
Yeah, I don't
Nintendo Switch things taste
I
bad.
don't think they did that because people were putting GameCube discs in their mouth.
No, but they did make it a bit. They did put a bitterant in
Yeah,
the Switch
because
cartridges.
because they made them so small and they thought it was gonna be
Yeah.
a choking hazard. But then instead of kids putting it in their mouth, then like adults did it because they wanted to see how bad it tastes, and then they kept swallowing their
Then-
Switch cartridges.
No, this isn't real.
Yeah, friend. This was old news. This was like back when the Switch came out.
Whoa.
Go
Wait,
get
did
your
they put
Switch.
bitterants in SD cards?
Get your Switch and lick Puyo Puyo
No.
Tetris or whatever, and it'll be
No.
like, ugh.
I will not.
Okay, well,
and then you'll
then
you'll
it's
accidentally swallow
working.
it and
Yeah.
be like, thanks, Miyamoto.
Then you'll have to fetch Puyo Puyo Tetris out of your Puyo Puyo. Your poo poo.
Oh.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on, people. Look alive.
There's
Okay.
two anatomical like related things in my body that starts with like puh. So I was trying to figure out which
That's
one.
disgusting,
you were trying
Fran.
to
One
go
of them's
to.
not connected to your mouth. It's connected
Well,
to
that's
a bunch
why I
of
was
guys'
confused,
mouths.
and I'm like, hold on. No.
Okay.
what?
let's turn it down. All right.
Go back to God.
We're
Come
gonna
back
talk
to
about
Christ.
We're gonna talk about some good Christian values here, okay? Do you think if we use those like VTuber things to just put cat heads on us that like
God, Ethan, I've been waiting for you to have a good idea for like 5 years now, but finally it's happened.
I was going to suggest I start podcasting with Casper and just have him next to me on the screen at all times.
Well, here's the thing, Fran, is Casper's actually a dog, and although people do like dogs, it doesn't.
He's so fluffy, though. He has the fluffy factor. I'm just saying.
Now, if he was a Shiba, then
he's not a sheep, but he's very fluffy.
Shibas are the cats of dogs. All right, let's talk about fucking video games for once in our gosh darn lives. Can't we talk about video games?
I would love that. I highly doubt we are getting this far in the series, but I just had Agumon pulled up on the wiki.
Yeah.
And I do the last point in his like story series is by the year 2028, Agumon returns to Tai and joins him as a United Nations diplomat for the digital.
I saw
he's
that.
He's in a little fucking suit.
Yeah, he is.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Okay, so I actually have a board game thing that I found this week that I thought of you boys for.
Okay.
So it's a board game about a collectible card game.
Okay.
So it's a meta game. So the idea is that this game is called Millennium Blades. And it's a board game about a group of friends who play a fictional collectible card game, which is also called Millennium Blades.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So you're playing the game as if you're playing a character that is playing a collectible card game.
Okay.
And you go from pre-release night of like building like a starter deck kind of thing. And the idea is that you progress through this game and you become like a world champion of this collectible card game.
So but it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh where it's like the cards are real. You're just like literally like a person going to an MTG tournament and you're like,
yes,
I will become the most powerful.
So it might be a deck builder of a deck builder, honestly, from what I'm seeing.
This is more like a game that when you lose, you win. Because the winner of this game is, in fiction, the Blade Warrior champion, but all of his friends do get dates and also didn't spend thousands on fictional cards.
I was gonna say, if this game doesn't take place in like a Yu-Gi-Oh style universe, being the best at a card game makes you like that's a bad thing.
Packs?
That is a bad thing.
There's expansion packs. I don't know
Are
what
expansion
they do.
packs part of the game, or are there expansions to the game that include...
Maybe both?
Very confusing, Fran.
I read about it. I'm like, this can't be real. And then, of course, it's real. And it's up for pre-order. Apparently, it was released a few years ago, and then they ran out. So they have to print more. So if you want to play a card game about playing a card game and becoming a world champion of the card game inside the card game.
This sounds
like, I feel like it could be entertaining.
This sounds just really intensely sad. This kind of reminds me of the Game of Life for millennials, where like
no, you like that game though, Ethan. You secretly like that game.
I have
it's the best birthday present you've ever received.
I have passionate feelings about that game.
I have never in all of my days seen Ethan less wanting to do a thing than when we were playing the game of millennial life.
It was so good though. I remember seeing it in Target and going, CJ, I know that this is perfect for Ethan. Should I take it?
Yeah, I was just given that as a gift. My family is like, you like board games, right? So they always give me garbage ones that are like themed, because whenever you have like themed games like that, they're always bad.
Yeah. I remember that. I can't remember if like it was a play of the game where CJ was fucking me over, or if it's just that he was taunting me on a bad play. But I looked at him and he fucking flinched, and he was like, "I saw violence in your eyes."
I put up my dukes. I was ready to fight. I was like, "Oh, Ethan, every friend, here's a little insight into men, but there's like a look you give another man when you're ready to fight him. And like words need not be said. So
is that the same look you give someone when you're ready to duel them?
It's very similar. Yes. It's like in Pokemon when you kind of lock eyes with a random person, know that you have to battle.
Yeah.
It's like that. I saw that and I was like, oh, we're fighting now. I was like ready.
But no, that does bring me back to this card game though. It sounds very sad because like when you're playing Magic the Gathering, the fantasy that you're indulging in is that you are summoning magical beings and doing so in like a smart way to, beat your opponents, and you're a powerful, immortal planeswalking being. The fantasy in this game is that you are actually good enough at a card game to like profit from it, I guess.
Yes. Well, to become a world champion. So like, here's the premise. It's you begin the game on pre-release night with just your starter deck. You'll open new packs, form collections, and sell your junk cards on the aftermarket to buy hot new cards. Trade with your friends, build up your deck, and prepare to compete at Millennium Blades Worlds for the title of World Champion.
Right. So my point is that like you could do that in real life. And so playing this game is kind of just like the recognition that you don't have what it takes. You're like
you could
be a like land magnet in real life. You could be like you could live life in real life as in life the game. You could,
it's
that.
Why can't we have wish fulfillment become a world champion at a card game
in real life?
Instead of taking years and money to make this world championship deck, I can accomplish that in like 3 hours by playing this board game.
The war thing is very different, CJ, but I do like the concept of like you have the game itself, but you also like add on meta cards that are like, I am playing, you're a very unlucky dude who gets land fucked on you. And so now you only draw land the next 10 turns.
Maybe it's in there. I don't know what the event cards are.
That's pretty good.
So what I'm hearing, Ethan, is if I pre-ordered this for you for your birthday, because it is estimated to ship on April 10th.
That's pretty good. That's very timely.
And I bought it for you as a gift, and we have that now social obligation that you have to accept it. Would you then be willing to play it with your friends?
I mean, it sounds like I would be obligated to.
I was gonna say, as a gamesman, you have to play it at least once, from like an analytical standpoint.
So
that you can
see if it's because what if it turns out it's actually really fun?
We'll see. I mean, I have a little bit of the defensive wall now that Siley does not like card deck builders. And so
I don't know if it's but this might not actually be a deck builder. We'd have to look at it because it could be about deck building, but it doesn't mean you're actually building a deck.
It's actually like Monopoly, but the game is about.
There is cash. Like if you look at the setup, there is like Monopoly money in here.
Again, it just feels insulting, right? It's like It's like if you
like you're victimizing yourself for some reason because of this.
I mean, it's just the concept of like if I had a game that was like become a chess grandmaster in my game, but you don't actually play chess in the game, you play like a very simple card game.
Because it's hard to be a chess grandmaster.
I'm smart, I do it.
I don't know, Ethan. I think you are just.
I think you might secretly enjoy it.
I think so. I think he's being tsundere about it. I think that he doesn't realize that
placing pre-order now.
Most people don't want to do all the sweaty hard work it is to become a card game player master, so this fulfills someone's fantasy.
Do you want any expansion packs?
What
How
Fran, you can't speak to me about this because the answer is no.
No, it's not unreleased. It was released years ago. They ran out of the original print, and they made expansion packs for it. They're reprinting it.
I see.
So it's a pre-order for the reprint.
Listen, Fran, I have a problem paying attention. You know this. I kind of get in my own head a little bit.
Well, as I pre-order this,
if we did do like off weeks where we just did like shorter episodes, we would just like talk about stuff like this for like half hour.
Yeah, so we'll play the game. We'll have like a quick
Yes.
little short episode about it. It'll be a great fun time.
And we would
So
just
welcome to the lore you know.
Just hold on. I was. I like that. I think I'll probably just make it into its own little thing. I don't know if that'll get into the main episode, but we just talk about that for like 20 minutes and like pop it up.
Right, that's a lot to pop into the episode here, but all right, I'm good and riled up now, so I'm ready.
Yes, very funny, you three. That's great. But did you know that on the show, we actually do talk about the lore of your favorite video games and other pieces of media that you love, or whatever Fran says in the intro? Well, we have some more of that here, including whole swaths of things that we had to cut from our earlier episodes because we didn't know how to do pacing yet. Anyway, enjoy a little bit of this Yu-Gi-Oh! Behind the scenes. I'm just gonna fly through Duelist Kingdom. They all duel each other. There's a labyrinth that people always talk about. That one. The Joey runs out of all his stars at once, but then Yugi just gives him some because he's like, whatever. Which there's no rule against that. You can just do that. So they did that. I'm pretty sure they knock out May at some point, and he's just like, nah, it's okay. You don't have to give me your stars. And then she keeps competing, and there's a whole thing. So like, there's one notable duel which Kaiba shows back up, and he's like, Yugi, duel me. I invented. So all of these duels have to happen on these big stages so far, right?
Yeah.
Or like, because that's where the holograms happen.
Yeah.
And each stage is like, there's like effects, background effects, which again aren't in the game. I mean, they are in the game. You can get like terrain cards to like make this effect, but like in this world, it's just like if you play at the ocean realm, your ocean monsters are enhanced.
Fair.
And it's like, okay. So like everyone is playing, they're just waiting at the arena that their cards are good at.
Yeah.
Like they meet Mako Tsunami, and he has a water deck, and he's just waiting by the ocean for people to show up.
Okay.
So that he can duel them on the ocean map, which Yugi does, and he beats him. And he's like, wow, Yugi, you're really good at this. I had every advantage, and I still lost. He's a good guy, though. He's never like an asshole. He's just like a really intense guy.
I don't remember. I remember.
You don't remember Mako Tsunami?
I remember the name because it's fucking awful, but
it's a great name. That's the one. That's the one where his stone soldier goes into attack mode and attacks the moon.
Okay.
But because he summons the moon as a card, and it causes the high tide because there's all these like physics interactions in this game. It's great. And then
so like
all
he
of
summons
his
an
water
actual moon, and it affects the actual ocean that he's waiting by.
Well, no, the holographic ocean.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
that is rendered in the card game, and then all of his monsters. Yeah, they're just making up physics and stuff. And then all of his monsters can hide in the high tide, and so they're basically invincible. But then Yugi destroys the moon, and then. And reveals his ocean monsters and then kills them all.
Yeah, no, like I just want you to imagine the back and forth. It does sound like actual like 5-year-olds playing on the playground, right? Where like
I summon the moon.
Well, I summon a moon card which makes the tide high, so all my monsters are invincible. Oh yeah, well I attack the moon, which makes the moon explode and fall on your monsters, and then they're not invincible and they die.
Oh yeah, that was
well,
another one.
The card doesn't say you can't.
Yeah, they meet Bandit Keith, who's an American. That's his trait, which also makes him a dick.
Yeah, what makes him evil.
He has a machine deck. They have
I'm surprised it wasn't a gun deck.
They do a shadow. They do one that's like a shadow themed deck, and he's like got ghouls and zombies as his. And there's like a floating tower is one of the cards, and then he like destroys part of the monster, which makes it fall on a different monster and kill it.
Yeah.
So bullshit.
It's the craziest thing. It's like a floating castle.
We're not gonna talk about the
No, we are gonna talk about that.
We're not gonna talk about every detail of every duel, but yes, it's a floating castle that has. It's a floating castle that is. It is specifically held aloft by its levitation ring that surrounds it, So he
Which they
uses
don't
a card.
say at any point. You just see there's a ring circling
there's
around
a
this
ring.
floating castle.
But Yami Yugi knows that because he has insider info into this game, and so he traps all of the monsters inside of like a cylinder of force, and then he has one of his monsters attack. He doesn't have enough attack points to destroy the castle because it's a castle, but he has enough apparently to destroy the ring that keeps the castle aloft, and so he destroys the ring and the ring falls down, and he's like, no, my monsters, get out of the way, but they can't because they're stuck inside of this cylinder that this was at the top of, so it falls down, destroying all of his monsters and the castle in the process. And he's like, I didn't know that's how my cards work. And he's like, you should know better how your own cards work, I think. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The fucking wildest thing
begets so many questions, because
I know,
so
but
now
never going to
a
be
literal
answered.
card game now takes into account like visual spatial awareness.
Yes.
But
because
even before because the holograms didn't exist until Seto Kaiba came along.
Yes, I know, Fran. It's just now that the games are this way, they have apparently physics-based rules that you have to know about.
Them. So did you just describe this before, like, or was this just not an aspect of the game until Seto Kaiba's company
guess
came
it just
along?
wasn't. I guess it just didn't matter.
Or did they have holograms in ancient
Could you
Egypt?
do that previously and without visual reference? You're just like, no, you can't do that. That's obviously bullshit. But like now that you can see it rendered out, you're like, oh, I guess it does make sense.
It's just the wildest thing. That's one of my favorite ones, is attacking the castle, because the castle has too many attack points to lose that fight, right? It's just a numbers game. The one number is higher. But it's like imagine if they did that at other points in the show, where like Kaiba summons Blue Eyes White Dragon and Yugi's like, I send my Kuribo to attack, and Kaiba's
I
like,
attack its wings so it can't fly anymore, and it's like, does that help?
You can do that? He's like, sure.
Why not? Oh dear. Okay.
My dragon has literally 10 times the attack, Yugi.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit, Kaiba.
So yes, there's,
Okay. All right.
It's a little bit of Calvin Ball.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yes. Yami Yugi, more like ha 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 Yugi. What a good segue. Speaking of segues, we have a guest on our show quite often, as you faithful viewers may have noticed. It's none other than LizardxLizard, or Lizzie as I call her, famous internet author and creator of the show Finding Fiends, which, by the way, is in its final season and is prime for binging the entire thing, as you can see the climactic conclusion to the story that she's been working on for a couple years. But in the meantime, while we wait for that to come out, listen to her talk about some random garbage on our show instead.
Aren't they Generation Alpha these days? Isn't that a thing? There's the alphas.
That's supposed to be under Gen Z, I believe.
Are
yes.
they memeing yet? I thought they were still in like middle school. I thought that's what you guys were dealing with.
Gen Alpha is like high schoolers at this point. They've got to be.
Well, I don't see them making any dank new memes.
Yeah, Gen Alpha is graduating high school this year, because Gen Alpha is like the group.
Oh wait, no, they invent. I'm so wrong.
Who's making Skibbity Toilet?
I was gonna
honey?
say they're making Skibbity Toilet. Obviously, I was such a fool and ignorant Slav. I just read the Gen Alphas are going through their little phase with that we had with like Slender Man.
Oh.
Where,
they make up cryptids and such.
Well, no, but they're just like using it as an excuse to like be awful and ruin their lives.
Oh.
Well, that's great to know that we're passing down things by generation that should be passed down.
Was Slender Man a millennial thing? I guess it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely was.
Were the girls who killed their classmate millennials?
No.
Yeah, I thought they were younger.
Wait, were they not?
No, because they were. We were like.
I was like in college
our 20s
when that happened.
Yeah, we were in college and they were in like
we're
middle
gonna
school.
We're gonna have to wait another 10
So,
years
I believe
before someone kills their roommate
Gen
because
Z.
Skibbity Toilet.
But it
told
was
them
definitely
to.
like a millennial like creation.
Yeah,
slash-
Slenderman is definitely a creation of like 4chan and copy pasta and stuff like that. But
yeah.
Creepypasta.
It's creepypasta.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Creepypasta.
I don't know
my
if he's a
bad.
member of Gen Z, but I know Gen Z really connected to Siren Head then.
Yeah. No, I
That
would
was
say that's
another, like-
probably accurate. I don't think he was quite
dear.
as
I think that's
As
the guy who created
renowned.
that is older, or in our
yeah,
generation.
but I think it caught on with the younger generation. I mean, it's basically like, does Markiplier make videos for millennials back when they were younger, or does he make videos for the Zoomers now, or does he make videos for the Gen Alpha now?
Honey, he makes videos for gamers.
Yeah.
So
He
cross-generational.
I don't know if it was a meme. He just posted that he won the Streamy Awards for gamer,
Did he?
which it's impossible to. I mean, I guess I could check. If that was
Markiplier's
just
a
meme.
gamer?
He is a gamer. Who won this? I've been seeing the Streamy
That's a
Awards.
category? Is my
Well,
first
that's,
question.
That's why I don't know.
I-
So first
That
off,
seems a little
first
too
of all, first off, Matt Pat was hosting. I mean, that can't be
Okay.
understated.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what he looks like.
He
I
looks
don't
like this.
either.
I've okay. I've never seen this man in my life. I just hear his name.
Yeah, we say it every time because our shtick is basically the same thing, only he does game
I
theories
was
and
gonna
we
say,
do game facts.
I don't think I've ever seen a video
I've
of
seen
his.
Matt Pat before for sure.
Let me see what the Creator of the Year award went to Mr. Beast.
Obviously.
The
Wait.
Show of the Year went to Challenge Accepted.
No.
Whatever
that
that
sounds
is.
awful.
I've not heard of that.
That sounds
Streamer
awful.
of the Year is Kai Sennett.
Whoever that is.
Whoever the hell that
See,
is.
We are already pushed out by the younger generation of
Well,
these types of things.
The
Get off
breakout
my
creator
internet.
is Dylan Mulvaney. We know
I
who that
feel like
is.
I've heard this name.
Apparently Matt
Making
Pat ripped
TikTok.
into Colleen Ballinger with a jaw-dropping streamy skit,
That's
according to
Wow.
this top story.
that's just words.
Was it jaw dropping?
Guys,
Apparently.
you're never gonna guess what won the,
The rumor
Streamy
come out.
Collaboration Award.
What? Was it a Hollywood
me
person?
and your mom.
Oh my god, that's it says that. It's Mr. Beast and Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Oh my gosh, it was a Hollywood person.
I can't believe I missed that.
Okay, sorry. Although Mr. Beast and Dwayne the Rock Johnson won the Streamy Award for a collaboration, there's a different category for crossover, which it just says the Jonas Brothers won. So I don't know what they crossed over.
But they're
with,
the Jonas Brothers. What?
But they
Jonas
crossed over.
Brothers.
With
I
each-
mean,
with
Paris
themselves?
Hilton is on this list too.
Whoa.
Paris Hilton's back?
The millennials are bringing it all
Oh my
back, I
God.
I
for some
guess.
reason.
I guess
This-
Jonas
this
Brothers
one-
was high school.
Not ready to give it up yet.
Oh wait, these are the
Guys,
Guar-
I
Guargura-
feel like we're
Guargura won the VTuber one. She
we're
deserves
recording
it.
ourselves looking really old right now.
No, we're
And
not.
I'd
We're
rather talk
becoming-
about something else.
We're becoming young. Who the fuck is on purpose with Jay Shetty? They won the Podcast of the Year award.
And
Who the
we
fuck
did
are
it.
these old people?
CJ. Holy shit. Visual and special effects. Guess who won that shit?
Is it
Zach
Mr.
King.
Beast? Who the fuck is that?
Zach King, he's from Vine.
What the fuck? I didn't watch Vine.
You guys weren't around for Vines? No,
I
I'm
mean, I
Vine.
was,
we were,
but
we didn't watch. I didn't watch
I
it.
never had the app. I only saw them through other means.
I'm just
Hell of a
surprised that
Boss
someone from
won the
Vine won.
animated category.
Considering.
So I mean, people from Vine went on to have pretty big careers.
Who the fuck is RDC World 1?
Oh,
He's the-
Tierzu won the education category. That's great.
Yeah, I saw that on the Twitter.
Good job.
This guy does comedy. I'll watch his comedy later to see
Okay.
how
All right.
see how good it is.
All right.
Anyway,
Are you all
Critical
nice and warmed up?
Critical won the award for commentary.
Oh my
he
God.
sure does make comments.
He does make a lot of them. Competitive gamer. There's one for dance, fashion and style. Gamer. Shit. There is one for gamer, but Markiplier was beaten by Dream for it.
Mm.
Now I have an issue with that.
I know, I do as well. I truly do. Mostly because my biggest issue is I'm not on this list. I should be on the.
I also have an issue with that.
I should be on the comedy list. I should be on the gamer list. I
there-
should definitely be on the podcast list because I've never heard of any of these. pieces of
On
shit.
the editing category,
Well,
I don't
the
know if you
H3
see
podcast.
CJ, is that a
someone called Cooking with Linja
What?
was nominated for the editing category.
In the editing category?
Yeah.
Cooking with Linja, with Lynn Davis. What is her? Well, aw,
So-
she's like a sweet older lady.
So it's like
All
you're
right.
almost there.
I
Yeah,
think
maybe
I've
someone
seen
will
her.
look. Maybe someone will look for her to channel find ours.
There you go.
She's got merch. God damn,
Honestly.
dude. We're really not good at this. This seems trivially easy.
Now that we've come away with
All right.
we're really not good at this, let's start the podcast.
All right, you
All
ready
right,
for my
fine.
dumb intro?
I don't have the time.
Let's keep all this in and then let's just do Fran's intro now.
Okay. Yeah, this is how we start the podcast, by ranting for 20 minutes about the outcome of the Streamy Awards, a thing that will either be so common knowledge to anyone who gives a shit that this is old news, or so ostracizing for anyone who doesn't that
I
they
mean,
couldn't possibly care.
It just happened
Yeah.
Sunday. So it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
That's true. This will be a pretty three people in their 30s talk about why the winners of the Streamy Awards shouldn't have been that.
It's great.
Yeah, I can see the title now, the thumbnail.
Content.
All right, ready for a stupid intro?
I am.
Yeah.
All right. Do you hunger for a chicken dinner after flossing on your enemies in victory? I was part of the band nerd group, so we would just sing our concert music on the bus.
That is nerdy.
To be fair, I was friends with like the band director's daughter, so it was a super nerd group.
I was friends with my band director's son. We didn't he was too busy like silently doing metal chords in the back corner, and I
Oh.
was too busy thinking about how girls wouldn't talk to me. Which is why I
Bethany
could never be a good musician.
Bethany was a French horn player, and super
We only
into
sang
nerd.
songs.
What the fuck does that mean?
French horn players are notoriously odd.
You know, that is
I-
actually in my experience very true.
Yeah.
I can't deny that.
I was not a band kid, so I really can't add anything to that.
I
We only
will-
sang songs on the way to Girl Scout camp, in which we sang Girl Scout songs.
Yeah, that's propaganda, yo.
What's a Girl Scout song?
Girl Scout song. They're just the songs that are like long time like songs sang at Girl Scout camp.
Okay.
Trying to think of one. It's been so long.
I sang all the Girl Scout songs. Oh, can you say one? Well, I don't remember any
I'm
of
like
them.
totally
I just used to
blanking
sing
on
all
any of them.
I mean, this
There
is
was
on
one-
brand based on
there was
our
one-
previous discussions.
Yeah, there was one about going to Girl Scout camp, and it was just awful. And it was called "I Don't Want to Go to Girl Scout Camp." So
That-
I remember that one.
That one seems counterproductive.
Yeah, I mean
to
it was supposed to be
situation.
really
It's
like
supposed to
over
be
the
like
top.
ironic.
Like it
Are
says,
you teaching
yeah.
irony in the Girl Scouts? Wow.
Yes, it was
At
supposed
such a
to be
young age.
like the lyrics were literally like when you go to the bathroom and sit on the horrible outdoor porta potty toilets, the bugs crawl up your spine when you sit down on them.
Ugh,
Oh
let
my
me
And,
like,
gosh.
your butthole.
Yeah, and there was
Ah!
one about like you can't drink the water because it tastes like turpentine.
That's poison.
Do we know what
Like,
turpentine
oh,
is at
I
that
don't
age?
want to go to Girl Scout camp. Please, Mom, I want to go back where the water flows. That's how it
Oh
went.
my word. No wonder my parents didn't let me join Scouts. Because all my friends were in Girl Scouts, and I'm like, oh, I want to join Girl Scouts. My parents are like, no.
My Girl Scout camp
parents
was
should've
not
let you
like
join
that.
Girl
It was
Scouts.
just supposed to be over the top silly.
You can romance.
Interact with her children and be like,
In-
all right, let's
in-
play together.
In fairness, so what Lizzie's talking about is like in Awakening, there's like two generations. There's the original generations that you do war with, and then you like mate all of them together so that they can
They can
procreate.
create
Is
battle
that better?
babies.
And then to
I
protect.
feel like we should save this.
Well, we're not going to talk about it in
Yeah.
this one, but to protect their babies, they put them in like the Shadow Realm or whatever. But time moves faster in the Shadow Realm, so then they come back out to
No,
come help their
CJ,
parents.
you have
And
it
then-
wrong. This is
And
that
then
is-
they come back to the past as like,
that's Fire Emblem
Awakening.
Fates. That's Fire Emblem Fates.
It's
In
both of-
Awakening,
it's
they
both of them.
just come back from the future.
Oh, right, the dystopian
In Fates,
future.
they put them in the baby
You're right.
realm because they don't have time to raise them. In the
Sorry.
baby realm, they age faster.
You're
and then,
you're totally right. It works exactly the same, but it is a slightly different reason for why they're doing that. I totally forgot that they
in,
switched it
in
up.
Fire Emblem Awakening, the children that come to you to help you fight are just time travelers from the future.
Yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, you've used up all of your time talking about the series that we're not really going to talk about.
Oh.
So
I don't want you to talk about cum anymore.
any more?
I really don't.
Like not even a little? So that's what all the content creators are talking about.
I don't think so.
Name one who hasn't.
Probably that person who made the happy song.
Yes.
They probably have a different video.
Many different many different TikTok stars, because it's not allowed to be said on TikTok. There you go.
Can I say come on TikTok?
I'm pretty sure.
What if you say
You can't
"Come
say a lot
on
of
in.
things.
Come
You can
into my
say
house."
that, yeah. You could say COME.
How does it know? Does the text to speak? Can the text to speak? The lady, hello, I am here at my house. Can that voice determine if it's come or come?
I just
don't
imagine
know.
there's like a green light. It's like, I would like you to come
Yeah.
inside me. And
Oh.
then
I mean, there probably is like a software version of that.
I just know that it's very heavily censored on TikTok. So
it is very heavily censored. They
say things like, instead of kill, they say unalive,
yes.
Yeah.
because you can't say kill on TikTok. So I wouldn't
if you're
think
talking
if
about
they
the
knew
show,
you were talking
allowed
about
kill.
cum, they
You're
would
allowed to
not
talk about
allow
that
it.
show.
I just like.
You also can't talk about kill a kill. It's unalive, unalive.
You're doing great, Fran.
Thanks.
I'm engrossed in this gross story. Get it? I'm
Thank you.
engrossed.
I get it.
I didn't even make any.
joke.
I didn't even make any cum jokes technically about that kid that died
It's
from
true.
his
You
balls
only
getting
talked
stabbed.
about his blue balls.
Right.
So proud
which
of
is
you.
which is a cum joke kinda, but
Tangential.
I was gonna say I thought pee was stored in the balls, but
thank you, honey. Finally,
You know.
finally some good fucking comedy. Holy shit. I'm like crawling through this desert of child murder, and I'm just like, food, water, comedy. And finally, I've
it's a
got
bit of low hanging fruit.
Thank you for that. Hold on, the cats.
Hold on, the cats are fighting.
I hear it. I hear it.
You hear it?
I do. I heard him.
I like the
So
idea
being
that
hit
these
by a
cats
car.
are so intelligent that they can like figure out what a road is and that it is dangerous and like what humans are and kind of get that, but they
see
can't like
cats die from it. So
they can't like just listen to see if there's a car coming to
They
like
do.
know if it's okay to cross or not.
So
Also, if they're called Thunderpath, wouldn't the Thunder Clan, like, if you're keeping the names, right? I would assume Thunder Clan is known to live near the Thunder.
No, Fran, you
Paths.
can't start poking holes in this completely
So,
I'm just saying.
unhole-pokeable.
So I
material.
did not read this because it came well after I was out of the age range for Warriors, but there are like prequel books
Oh.
that come like before
Of
what
course.
our first series we're gonna go over
Mm,
that establish how the
mhm.
clans were formed and
Okay.
who created them and who named them. And I don't know that lore. I didn't bother to look
Mm.
that up. So you can look that up on your own if you want. But there's a whole
Fabulous. I'm
series
excited.
about that.
Such a good tagline for the show. Hey, look it up on your own if you want.
Look it up on your own if you want. We're not going to get into it. I think you guys should say that more often, in fact. As some podcast.
It just sort of defeats the purpose of the show for like, I don't know.
This
Just look
Well,
it up.
sometimes you have
this
so
show
much
should-
to say.
the show should really be called The Lore We Know.
The Lord,
and sometimes
we
we'll just
know,
be like,
and you
I don't know.
need to look up the rest.
I don't know.
Again, a big thank you to LizardxLizard for coming on to the show so often, even though we seem to only talk about semen and feet. Now let's get back to that juicy lore, in bite-sized format this time. Here's some from our Sonic the Hedgehog episode. We meet some other characters who I don't think will matter, but I'm bringing them up because they put them in the comic, and if they put them in the comic, I'm going to bring it up because I had to read it, so you have to listen to it.
Sure.
It's noted that there was once a city called Mobotropolis, which is presumably where the Mobians lived.
Okay.
But that's gone now. In fact, replaced by Robotropolis. So when
Oh.
Eggman took over, he took over Mobotropolis and turned it into Robotropolis to just be confusing, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
There's also a race of underground dwellers called the Nerbs, and their main character trait is that they look like worm people, but they're also nerds. And they're the like actually nerds who are really annoying and who hate outsiders.
Oh.
So Sonic shows up and they're like, "We're here to save you from Eggman." And they're like, "We do not need your assistance. In fact, you being here is a danger to all of the Nerbs. So get the fuck out." And then he frees some Nerbs and they're like, "Ooh, don't touch me, Sonic." And then that's pretty much it. Like, I hate these guys.
Oh, I love it.
And
they
I was on board until you said they were the actually.
Yeah, they're
type.
like they are like the worst. But in the end, Sonic helps them, and then they accept them into their culture, and they give them the traditional garb, which is a very nerdist representation where they have like, you know, checkered short sleeve button up shirts and like and like shorts, like khaki shorts and like pocket protectors.
Hell
and
yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I don't like this. This is very uncool." And Sonic is never uncool. So he gets rid of that shit right quick, and they never talk about the Nerbs again.
Cool.
Episode I just did.
They get rid of the canon like between every single game, but not that game. That game they reference it in the
Which one?
They
The Werehog?
reference the Werehog game in Sonic Frontiers
Heck
because
yeah.
Tails is like Tails is in Sonic Frontiers. I have to say, Sonic Frontiers is you get the most pathetic Tails ever. He's just like,
Aw.
"Sonic, I feel like I am just a mite in your shadow, like I'm an insignificant speck, and you're the hero." And he's like,
Well,
Yeah.
Tails."
That's how it's
But then-
been.
But then he's like, "Tails, don't you remember when we fought Dark Gaia?" And it was like, that's like a reference to that game. He's like, "You were so brave then, Tails." And
When
it's
you
like,
weren't
"All
in the
right."
game?
Yeah, that's just in the
Tails.
game.
Do you remember Sonic 06?
Dark times, Sonic.
I miss when Tails was 3
Yeah,
in
no.
the show, and he's like, "I'm only 3.5 years old."
We're gonna talk about Tails. It's gonna be
Okay.
awesome. It's not that it's
I do like that.
aggressively bad. It's just boring. It's 3
No,
hours of
it's really
nothing.
bad.
Okay, that's the hard part
It
for
is.
me.
Well, we tried to watch the Robert Pattinson Batman, and I fell asleep literally 20 minutes in.
Okay, but
I've not been able to
that
get back
movie,
to it.
I mean, I think that might be okay, but it
I
is
like-
sure tough to get through
I
at
like
night.
that movie because, you know, Batman usually like disappears into the shadows. He
Yeah.
does not in that one. You can hear his little boot stuff. He has the loudest fucking
That was-
shoes.
That I
walking down the hallway, and it's like clunk, clunk, clunk,
I could
clunk.
not understand how that was not supposed to be a comedic moment.
It was exactly timed. Like, do you guys hear that? And then they look down a dark hallway, and then he just sort of walks into light, and it doesn't like cut, so he like swoops in.
Yeah.
He's literally just walking in. He's like,
And you're like,
it was so fucking funny. I wanted to watch more, but it was so boring. I was so tired.
so if Sonic met that Batman, he'd be like, "Style's bad, bro." Check this out.
Let's trade shoes. Yeah.
Haha, just put a little joke in there at the end to see if you were paying attention, but clearly you are, so as a treat, you can have a little Pikmin.
Everyone's really concerned. So like everyone talking about Alaman is like, who will pluck him?
Oh yeah, they
And
were
I-
getting weirdly. I saw that as
and
well.
I'm like, what,
Why can't the
these
Pikmin just
creatures?
pluck?
Yeah, these creatures exist already. Like
They carry
clearly
engine parts.
They clearly have like some method of being birthed that doesn't involve a space creature plucking them out of the ground. Like everyone's
Wouldn't that be wild though if that
everyone-
was one species, like
like you
one
need-
way to procreate?
You need
You
another
needed-
higher species to come
No.
and like. I mean, that's.
It's kind of what pandas are,
I was gonna
right?
say that's basically what an avocado is at this point. So
Yeah, at this point, yeah. But no, I did. Yeah, I did like the people was just like, I'm a French philosopher here. Is like, but the life of the Olimar, who he picks the Pikmin, but who will pick him?
who knows?
Sometimes when we talk about something, it's not even about the topic at all, if you can believe. In fact, one day we just decided to talk about the new Tears of the Kingdom video game. Not even as a follow-up to the previous episode, just because we felt like it.
There's a bunch of floating islands and stuff that wasn't there before.
Well, most of them don't remember the calamity because they're humans,
happened 100
and that was
years ago.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
They just like grew up with it. But the upheaval happens in like a week, and then Ganon says it's high noon, and then he pushes the castle into the sky, and this creates a bunch of holes in the ground that lead underground, and also a bunch of floating sky islands somehow.
So Ganon fell asleep again? Okay, hold on. I'm confused. So Calamity happened.
After Calamity, they were hanging around for a while, and then someone discovered an underground passage in Hyrule Castle, which is bizarre because like the way you get in there is you just go into some stairs from the outside. So the fact that it took them that long to like walk through their own castle and find a set of stairs that go down underground, it's like absurd. But
when the calamity ended, the shaking of the castle formed a staircase.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And they didn't discover it for like 5 years. But then they went underground, and then they found a mummy Matt Mercer, and he says roll for initiative, and then Link's like I got a 2, and then he's like too slow, and then he like kills Link and destroys the Master Sword and throws Zelda off a cliff, and it's all going to shit. But then Zelda teleports away. A magical goat man gives you his arm to save your life, and the Master Sword gets teleported back in time to go heal. Then you start playing the game. It's awesome.
Interesting.
It actually fucking rules.
It's a lot of like Ganondorf's just like, you're no match
it's
for
so
me,
fucking
boy.
cool.
You
It's
would
like-
need some kind of goat daddy to help you here.
It's
but all the
so-
goat daddies are long dead.
It's so awesome. He just like wakes up. He's like, "So you're Link," and then he holds out his sword. It's like, huh, "Is that the sword that's supposed to hurt me?" And then he just shatters it, and he's like, "Pathetic idiot."
It's so very
awesome.
CJ.
It's so fucking
very
cool.
CJ.
So Link has an automail arm and is essentially Edward Elric then?
Yeah, but it's not a robot
Nice.
arm. It just belonged
It's a
to a
ghost
goat
daddy
preview.
arm.
Yeah.
It's not like a mechanical arm.
An ancient goat man who is kind of a god, but I don't think he's a god. People just say he's a god because he's like
Right,
part of
but
an
it's-
advanced race of goat people.
He's part of an advanced race of goat people who came down to Earth and plowed a bunch of Hylians, and that's where royalty comes from.
Right. And his
What?
name is... and
Oh
his-
no, hold on. I was
And
half
hi-
listening and
and-
then I had to actually think about that.
And his name
Wait,
is...
so Zelda's part goat person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unequivocally,
That's how you know
yes.
That's how you know she's royalty.
Yes.
No, that's okay. You can explain Zelda. To me.
Listen, if you saw Goat Daddy, you would probably be like, I would have his kids.
Here,
Fran, do you get it?
Would
Fran.
Oh, I
you
get
get-
it. Okay, because it's
Thank
kids.
you.
Got
He's
it.
a
Because
goat.
that's
He's
what
a
baby goats
goat.
are called. Got it. I get
Right.
it. Okay.
Here, this is
No,
what he looks like. God, why did
I
they
thought we were
give
talking
him
about
the-
furries.
They gave him the cum gutters. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a goat daddy.
Yeah, that's Raru.
Yeah.
Which he
Yeah.
used to look like this in the old games. I was watching Lizzie play, and then she was like, this guy's named Raru, and I'm like the guy from Ocarina? And she's like, what? And I'm like, the old guy who lives in the spirit realm or whatever and turns into an owl? Yeah, it's the same
Apparently he's a goat.
name. It's the same named guy. This is Goat Daddy. This is...
Okay.
This
Goat
is
daddy
the-
seems pretty chill.
This is... Yeah, he is. And
Okay.
then this is the mommy.
So who did he fuck
This
Her
one.
to
right
make
there.
the Hyruleans?
This one.
That right there.
Okay, who is she?
Her name's Sophie. She
Yeah.
should be Hylia by the existing lore, but her name's Sophie.
Okay.
I for sure thought that she was going to be Hylia. She's wearing laurels, which is what like you use to denote, like in storytelling, when you put laurels on a person, you are saying this person is a deity.
Again, though, CJ, this is just like proving that the Hylian religion is just like made up off of this fact. Like, this is just
So-
a lady who went to Pound Town with a goat man, and
So
that's where the
Zelda's
religion came
That was
from.
lost. It was
Ears
lost.
are pointy because they're goat ears.
Incorrect. Sophie's ears are also pointy. All Hylians'
Oh.
ears are pointy because it helps them hear the goddess better. We learned that in
But-
Skyward Sword, Fran.
But the goddess is her?
Maybe.
Then
Well, they
why
also
were their
they also
Hey,
say
so
that
the
he's.
elves?
They also say
What's
he's
happening?
a god, but he's not a god. He's just a goat man from the sky. Well, he's not
Who-
from the
yeah,
This is
sky.
complicated.
He has good science, and so they call him a god.
They're-
Instead of witchcraft, they actually like are going like
right.
oh.
They use like robots, and he can use his hand to stick a bunch of like pieces of metal and like stone and like fans and stuff together and like make an airplane. And then he gives you his arm, and then you can do that.
Oh, is that where that tweet came from with the robot with the fire dick
Yes.
that I sent in the
Probably.
chat? Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
his. He comes from an advanced species that made stuff like that, and they were like, "Truly, this is the work of a
Ah.
god."
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then
All
this
right.
is Zelda. She gets teleported back in time because it's a Legend of Zelda game, and then she goes and
Oh,
hangs out with
God.
her ancestors.
Okay. Weird.
Well, everyone, you have made it to the end of another episode of The Lore You Know. That's right. This one is over, but we, of course, want to thank you all for listening, for giving us those good reviews on the podcast sites, giving us your likes and subscribes. All of that helps us out tremendously and really keeps us going so that we can continue to make this show that has become a big part of our lives the past couple of years. Of course, we want to thank Galestorm Kitsune for doing the artwork for the podcast, and we want to thank Apagio for doing the intro and outro, as well as the little interludes that you've been hearing throughout the whole episode. Any part of it you can take out and listen to, and still a banger. We have one final clip for you guys that hopefully kind of rounds out this little clip show that we put together here. But we want to just thank you again for listening. It has meant a lot to us that we could make something that we really like to make. And so I hope this little couple year in review has been enlightening for you as it has been fun for us to make. So enjoy our little outro segment. And may all of your spooky Halloween wishes come true. But for now, I've been CJ, and this is why we made the podcast in the first place. So, if our show gets really popular, if ever I'm asked like the origin of the show, I know the exact two things that led me up to want to make the show in its current iteration. One of the things was I was explaining to Ethan the family tree of Knuckles in the extended Archie comic universe, and
I'm excited to hear that episode.
I was just going deeper and deeper into like, oh, I guess he had an uncle who did this stuff. Oh, I guess his like great nephew did this in a follow-up series and like stuff like that. So we talked about that for like an hour where I just talked about Knuckles. And then the other thing is when we were watching Castlevania and we had like a half-hour long discussion on it's weird that vampires fuck the people that they also suck blood out of, because that's very similar to if I had sex with pigs. And then Ethan was describing how it was different, and I was just describing how I don't think I could have sex with the thing that I was also eating later. And then we talked about that for a long time and just talked about vampires in general and like what the line is there. And then I was like, we could make a podcast where we just talk about silly lore things that don't make sense. And that's where
I'm
that's
down
where the
for a
idea-
Knuckles episode of the family tree.
And then I think the reason that I picked Fran as the second person to be on it, though, is because we talked about something. Maybe it was Kingdom Hearts stuff, where we just were talking about nonsensical. Could also be that
Well, it was also Resident Evil. You were doing a Resident
we
Evil
did.
gameplay.
Oh, that's true.
And
When
I
we
was
did
like,
the
what
Resident
is
Evil
happening?
gameplay, and you were like looking up stuff
And
while I was
then-
playing the game.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
also the three of us watched Evangelion together, and that was very silly.
Nope. That series is just wild.
That series is we watched Sword Art Online and then we watched Evangelion.
I still don't understand why Evangelion has such a hole.
I don't either.
pop
I don't
culture.
understand. Listen, I get
don't
that. I
understand.
get that it is the way it
It's been
is.
remade like 15
It's
times.
made in Japan. It's because every time they make an ending, the fan base is like, "No, I don't like that." And they're like, "Fine, we'll try again."
I just don't understand why
Which
it has
is
such a
which is
hold.
basically the plot of the Big O.
It's been
if you think
decades.
about
It's
it.
been decades.
I know, and they're still doing
Decades.
it. I still
Since
think
this show
I still
was
think
released.
about the shitty ending
didn't
to
even
Big O
have-
in action
Ugh.
every day. Can't believe you showed me that, knowing how it ended. It was a curse, a blight upon my house.
It's a good show. It's fine.
I never watched the
The
Big O.
show is good. The ending's dog shit.